Run.
Hey everyone, I hope you guys are having a great fright, and if not, I wish you get scared tomorrow. You know, get it? Because month of the clowns, this month, October, Halloween, anyone.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
It don't matter, it don't matter. Anyways, so I hear that John Krasinski's masterpiece, A Quiet Place, has a game. And now some of you out there might be like, what? They have a game? And a lot of you out there might be just sitting there like, oh yeah, I've been new about that. Now, just in case for those out there who don't know what the game is or what it's about, just to give you a small little summary, A Quiet Place Road Ahead is about a female protagonist by the name of Alex. And her goal is to get to this campsite that's being protected by National Guards. At least so she's heard. So not only does this woman have asthma, she's stressed out, and to top it off, she's pregnant. It's obvious what you're gonna be doing. You gotta dodge this giant oofing alien before you get off in the worst way imaginable. Now, just to spoil what this video is about, it's games like A Quiet Place, The Road Ahead. Even though the title of the video is gonna be shorter, it's only because the fucking name of it is so long. I'm not saying that whole menu piece. Before we start, I would like you guys to please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps support this channel, and who knows, you might take a nice little fancy as to what I have to tell you. Or maybe you might just scream. Anyways, let's begin. We're gonna kick things off with my visual mentions, which are games that I have not laid my hands on, but I have seen bits of, and therefore believe that this is very close to A Quiet Place. Start things off, we have Amnesia series. This series, depending if you want to buy it in a bundle or whatnot, it's up to you. And I'm not going to say the prices or whatever, because that's a lot of me talking and going back and forth, so it's going to be at the top of the screen, and that goes for all of these. But yeah, the Amnesia games, you play as these individuals who are set off in different areas, and your whole goal is to escape this area from these monsters and creeps, where in some games you're just sitting there holding a lantern. Other games, like let's say Amnesia The Bunker, you have a weapon to defend yourself. But then again, how can you really defend yourself from things like this? There's no real true defense in these worlds. And then the last game up for visual mentions, just to keep this short, we have Slender, The Arrival. Now, I haven't really played any of the Slenderman games, which, truth being told, there's 2 of them, but Slender, The Arrival, it has much more versatility, if it makes sense. Being that you can acquire this game on your console if you want, if not, you can play on your PC, but it's available on multiple devices. Same thing goes for the Amnesia games, being that you can play Amnesia on Xbox One, your PlayStation 4, 5, and Series X and S of Xbox, Alright, now with visual mentions out the way, we're going to go into honorable mentions. For honorable mentions, we're going to kick things off with Soma. This game is just scary not because of the fact that there's jump scares or nothing. It's just scary because you don't know what's going to happen. It's unpredictable. But to explain what the plot is, you play as a character who survived an accident. You're taking medication to basically take care of your injuries and help you with your trauma and your nightmares. And to further help your progression in healing, you go see this doctor, and next thing you know, you find yourself underwater. And things may not appear as they seem. It's a lot of psychological stuff going on, and as well as visually disturbing things going on too. Next up, and I know I'm going to receive criticism for, the BioShock series. Now, I say this only because of the fact that, yeah, BioShock is an FPS, a first-person shooter. Being that A Quiet Place is not really a shooter at all, but more like a strategy survival type of game. Now just listen and hear me out. There's survival elements in this game too, but BioShock kind of varies differently, but has its own similarities all around. Now, of course, you can get this in a collection. It comes with BioShocks 1, 2, and Infinite. Do what you will. It shouldn't be expensive, especially being that you can get it on sale. So, check it out. Next up is the Resident Evil series. And to be in particular, I mean Resident Evil 7 and 8. Only because both of those games are not only in first person, but it has that eerie scariness down to a T, even though that doesn't make sense in terms of, words. But basically, the game, it's scary. It's not horrifying, but to give you a little bit of synopsis of both of these two games, which you play as the same protagonist all around. You play as Ethan Winters, just an ordinary writer, who goes through a lot of disturbing things, from going down the bayou to look for his wife, to running through a scary castle on his own just to make sure his family is safe. There's a lot of things going on in both games. It's enough to say that, yeah, you can see similarities here and there for A Quiet Place. Alright, the last one to go for the honorable mentions. You have Mirror's Edge. Now, unlike the previous games on this list, they were scary, and you can understand why I compare those. And then you're just looking at Mirror's Edge like, okay, why did you put Mirror's Edge? Hear me out. Both characters from different games are female protagonists. Other than that, it's a lot of movement, and trust me, falling off of a building is the most visually horrifying and as well audibly disturbing thing to hear. Let alone that both of these games aren't heavy on combat. In fact, you can spend a good portion of the game not hitting people in Mirror's Edge, where the main premise of it is getting from one place to another. But yeah, check these games out. If you play on the past gen console, you'll be able to play the first Mirror's Edge, but for anyone who doesn't have the opportunity to play Mirror's Edge OG, it's okay. You can go and play Mirror's Edge Catalyst on the next gen consoles and current gen consoles, so you should be alright, as well as PC. PC, you also have the OG Mirror's Edge, so y'all are good. Check these games out if you like free running and as well as tensions rising in certain scenarios. Alright, we made it to the best of the rest. Now, to kick things off, we're going to start off with Metros. The Metro series is basically a particular place called Russia that undergoes a particular event. I'm not going to say what type of event because I don't want to be canceled, but let's just say Hiroshima, if you know what I mean. it goes through something like that, where everyone has no place to go but the metro. And the metro system became the new housing area for everything. From farming to literally housing. You play as the main protagonist known as Autium. Your goal is to navigate the metro and pretty much defend your home from invaders to monsters to all sorts of dangers that you find both in the metro and above ground. Which, by the way, above ground gives you such a unique mechanic. You need a gas mask to breathe above ground, which you have to spend your time looting bodies and possibly finding and buying gas masks, so that way you can be able to breathe in the air and keep your oxygen levels high. And also make sure your mask is not cracked, because if your mask is cracked, you are screwed. This is why it's similar to A Quiet Place, because this level in detail of self-preservation is very high, considering that it's similar to A Quiet Place in this aspect. If you love single-player story-based games, as well as situational stealth games, where there's also choices that affect your character and what happens later on in the story, this game is for you. And you can get a good value out of all these games in a nice bundle. Next, you have the Halo Neighbors series, which preferably in particular 1 and 2, because I don't know how many Hello Neighbor games out there, but we're gonna stick to the basics and say 1 and 2. Now, the Hello Neighbors series is more stealth oriented, and they're not really scary, but more like suspenseful and thrilling, where your whole goal is to investigate the neighborhood and figure out what is wrong with your neighbor. You know, he had a kid and then he's missing, and then now you find yourself traumatized throughout the whole situation and you can't sleep at night. So you feel the need to go to your stranger's home and invade their privacy to figure out what's going on with them. Let me tell you, bad idea. You shouldn't do this. But yeah, I think it's a great series, to be honest. If you're looking for a game with cheap thrills and to kind of match your taste with what you're looking for, then you know, go check it out. At spot number 3, we have Dying Light. Now, like Mirror's Edge, they both have a parkour mechanic, but man, it's horrifying to even think about trying to go outside into a pit full of zombies. And that's just the zombies. But what about the ones that can free run and just pounce on you at night? Oh my god, those monsters are horrible. So the whole unique mechanic to Dying Light is there's a daytime cycle. Now, why is the daytime cycle important? You see, in the morning, you deal with slow walking zombies. At night, you're not only dealing with zombies that can parkour, but these big, pouncer-like, nightmarish creatures that remind me of Lickers from Resident Evil come out of nowhere just to wham your shit in. Now, story-wise, what it's about, well, you see, in Dying Light 1, it's about Kyle Crane. But in Dying Light 2, you play as a new protagonist named Aiden. Now, overall, both games are basically about this protagonist who comes in and wants to help the people of said areas. I mean, it's kind of like every game on its own, but it's the best way to describe both games without really spoiling them. But the other cool thing that I will say as a bonus is if you have the money and you're up to it, this is a rare time I will say and do something like this, there is another Dying Light game on the way, which I forgot what that Dying Light game is called, but you'll return into the helm of Kyle Crane. And honestly, this series is a blast Free running, beating zombies up. What's more to not like? I love this series. I believe you guys should go and give it a try and implore you to consider it. Second to last, you have Alien Isolation. Now this game is one of the closest if you're trying to play a game for maybe the reason that you don't have a Series X and S or a PS5, or maybe you just try to find a game that's very close in similarity because you already beat the game. Whatever the case, I'm gonna tell you about Alien Isolation. Alien Isolation is about one of Ellen Ripley's descendants, which is Riley Ripley. She's trying to find her mother, who she last saw elsewhere at this particular station. So, like the plot of Dead Space, you go to the station and there's an infestation on the station. So of course, what do? You try to get the hell away. And things just don't end the way they should. So you're dealing with aliens and a lot of stealth mechanics. Even though this game you can fight back, it's a lot of similarities. One particular similarity that I shall not say out loud, but let's just say the two characters from both games are like in two different ways. Anyway, this game's phenomenal. Buy this game, check it out, or don't. It's up to you. And for the last stop, you have Outlast. To be specific, Outlast 1. The reason why I put the first game here instead of the other games, well, the first game just hit different. It's very impactful, it's scary, and above all else, there's so much mystery when you try to unlayer it. Both games have unique mechanics, being that you rely on the camera to help you see and record everything that's going on, and on top of everything else, you pick up documents and dossiers to uncover the events of this area and this location. Now, as an added bonus to Outlast, I recommend you to check out its DLC, The Whistleblower. Now, The Whistleblower is an indirect sequel to the first game, and it has a ending, a wild one, I'll say, without any spoilers. Go check it out if you can get it on sale, and be happy that you have a game that's very close to what the source material is. Alright, I hope you guys find this video informative.